think a lot of what we're talking about really is about recognition of their humanity. So it lands both for the employee, but also for the guest. The guest comes, and I recognize you as a individual person who has interests, who has passions, who has problems, why I'm here. Maybe it's to escape, maybe it's to have fun, whatever that might be, and trying to just connect. And even if it's just a brief moment, being able to connect with that person, like you mentioned, the logo, the logo on the top of the hat, referencing that logo, maybe referencing a game, if it's a sports team or something, a game that just happened, something like that took a moment to recognize you as an individual. And the same thing happens on the employee side. All you have to do is have these small little moments where you just recognize that they're, mention small things, that they're not just a cog in a machine. And sometimes I think we feel like we can be those cogs in a machine, especially if it's, I'm one of 500 staff at a large park, or even a small FEC that maybe has 50 or 150 staff. I'm just this cog in this machine. We take that moment to recognize a small little bit of humanity and just comment on something, even if it's not recognition, but just recognition of that they're an individual person.
Welcome to the Attraction Pros podcast, where we discuss the latest trends and challenges facing the attractions industry today.
We chat with some of the top leaders in the field and provide resources that will help develop your career in this great industry.
I am Josh Liebman. I am obsessed with the guest experience and helping attractions make that their top priority for success.
And I'm Matt Heller. I am passionate about organizational effectiveness, leadership development, and employee engagement.
Now sit upright, hold on tight, and get ready for the Attraction Pros podcast.
Welcome to Attraction Pros Live! Woo! Yeah! Welcome! Oh, this is so exciting.
Hey, Matt, how's it going?
It's going okay.
No, it's not.
It is fantastic!
Yes!
Yes! Woo! Josh, how are you?
I'm doing very well, thank you.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Yeah, good. Well, why are we here?
We are here because it's IAAPA Expo week, isn't it?
It is.
This is the greatest week of the year, right?
The most wonderful time of the year.
It is the most
wonderful time of the year.
And we are here to tap into the collective wisdom of the room. That's what I'm here for.
And we have got a lot of wisdom in the room. I know quite a few of you. I know a lot of you are really, really smart, and the people that I don't know, I bet are smarter.
So, we're back. It's Attraction Pros Live. We haven't done this here in 3 years or so?
It's been a while.
Yeah.
But here's what we do, right? How many of you listen to the Attraction Pros podcast? Everybody say yes. Yes. So on the Attraction Pros podcast, you just got to see some of the wonderful people that we've had on the podcast as guests, and now you all are our guests.
Ooh.
Yeah.
I was waiting for the collective
right?
oohs and ahs. That's right. So what you have all been asked to do when you walked into the room was to share something, whether it's a challenge or an opportunity or something you are working on within your business, especially as we wrap up 2022 and we go into 2023 in terms of what it is that you're working on. Maybe something that is a struggle, maybe something that is a challenge that perhaps some other people in the room might be encountering similar types of issues. So here's the thing. We have no idea what you wrote down. In fact, all week, people were saying, oh, Attraction Pros Live, that's fantastic. What are you guys going to talk about? And I'd say, I have no idea. So I still don't know. But
I don't know either.
We have a little bit of an idea of what is going to go on over the next 40 to 45 or so, I have no idea what time it is actually, minutes, that we are all here together. So here's how this is going to work. First of all, thank you all so much. I'm holding a very nice stack of cards right here. These are all business challenges that you are trying to solve, as it said right at the top of the slip of paper. So thank you all so much for filling them out. We are going to select them at random, and we're going to talk about it together. We might throw in our 2 cents every now and then if maybe it's something that we've encountered or something that we help our clients solve or the industry solve or something that maybe we've heard a solution to from previous podcast guests. But for the most part, this is all about you. So as you can see, we've got microphones in our hands here. We plan on passing these around the room because you get to be the guest on the Attraction Pros podcast today. And all of this is being recorded and will be available as a future podcast episode coming up in the near future. So how exciting does that sound?
Woohoo!
Cool. Excellent.
Yeah. Now, one thing I think that we should kind of start off with, maybe a little bit, right? We've got some business challenges, and I think it's important to dive into those, but we also want to set the expectation, like you said, that this is not just about us, right? We want to hear from you. You all have some great ideas. You all have some great thoughts. You all have some great solutions that may help somebody else. So this is really going to be interactive. We're going to come down off the stage here in just a second, but I have a quick question for anybody that wants to share. I would just like to hear one thing that has happened over the last year that has been really, really great for you or for your business. So who's got something to share that's been really great for you and your business? Before we jump in to the challenges and the problems and the things we want to solve, what's been really great? Frank, I know you want to share.
New rides and attractions.
One more time.
New rides and attractions.
New rides and attractions. Now, when you come to IAAPA, you're looking for new stuff too, right? And I hope we get some new, not rides and attractions in here, but new ideas, right? Excellent.
I wouldn't mind some new rides and attractions
Right.
here right now. Yeah.
We've got another one right over
right.
there. Yep, we're going to get you a microphone.
First, tell us who you are and what you do.
Hi, I'm Jen Rice, General Manager with WOZone, Water-Based Family Entertainment Centers. And last year at IAAPA, connected with a company out on the floor. I'm going to give them a plug, Event Hawk. They are in the party rental business, but revolutionized my guest communications business, changed the game. We are small, very small, and I had guests coming up to me telling me they didn't know who I was as the GM, that they felt like they were communicating with Disney over the phone. And I literally said, you have no idea how good that makes me feel. So that was like a huge win this year.
All right.
Thank you.
Round of applause
Excellent. Round
for
of applause
Jen, please.
for Jen. Yeah.
Thank you. Warm up, right?
Do we
Gotta get
have
you comfortable.
a challenge that we'd like to start with then?
We have a plethora of challenges.
Oh, I like that word.
All right. So this has two, but I'm going to read number one first.
Bring it.
Yeah. Matt, I think you might dabble in this subject a little bit. But
TikTok?
But it is not TikTok.
Okay,
and
good.
even though you dabble in it, I don't want to hear what you think about it. I want to hear everybody else does.
No.
Developing leaders to help reduce turnover.
Oh.
Now, I suppose that could be reducing turnover of your leaders, or you develop your leaders so that it reduces the turnover of the staff that they are leading. Perhaps it could go from either way. But who has any interesting or informative or engaging leadership development strategies that you've implemented with your attraction, your business, that you would love to share?
And that maybe helps reduce turnover.
Thank you. That
Right?
too.
Does anybody have something? Well, while you're thinking, I'll just tell you that my thought on this is that leaders absolutely impact turnover, right? We impact the way that our team members feel. We impact the way that they interact with one another. We impact the way that they interact with our guests. So if we don't have a robust development plan for our leaders, then chances are the experience that our team members are going to have is probably not all that positive. And when your team members don't have a positive experience, then what happens? Thank you, Dino. The guests do not have a great experience either. And when your guests don't have a great experience, then what happens? Then they don't come back and you don't have any money and then you're going to have to close your doors, right? So this is a pretty important topic when we talk about developing leaders. And then the question, of course, is how do you do it? How do you develop leaders? Well, one of the things that I've definitely experienced over the years is that it cannot be a one-time situation, right? It cannot be just one class that you do and say, you're a leader, boop, go, right? Here's your keys, here's your radio, right? I firmly believe, and I have some people in the front row that I hope, and back row, that will help kind of prove this out, is that leadership development is really a journey. And it's really something that as you go through your journey as a leader, as a manager, as a human being, that you're learning new things, right? And you learn those things and you get to apply them, and then you get to see, okay, did that work or not? And if it did, great, let's keep doing that. If it didn't, let's figure out how to fix it in the future.
Absolutely. I've read a couple books on that subject. Can't remember the author, but I think it's somebody in the room.
Yeah, somebody knows something.
Yeah. So when we think about leadership development strategies, when you think of development, a lot of times that might be synonymous with investment. And there was one of the things that we heard in the intro video from Mike Abacassis where he talked about the importance of investing in your teams. So if you're thinking about trying to reduce turnover, well, we know that turnover, whether it's of guests or employees, can be about 5 to 7 times more expensive than retaining them. So instead, if you can be more proactive about that and put those investments forwards, maybe it's about additional training for leadership. Maybe Maybe it's looking for areas of particular skill sets that they see the opportunity to grow in and be able to improve those so it enhances their leadership abilities. So it decreases their own turnover because they see that the company is taking care of them and truly investing in them, and at the same time makes them that better leader, which also decreases employee turnover as well.
Absolutely. I would love to see if somebody has, if somebody wants to share, maybe if that was your question, or if you have a kind of a secondary question to that, like, what was behind that, and if there's anything we can expand on. But Rob wants to say something. Rob, who are you? Where are you from?
Hi, everybody. I'm Rob Lara from Zoo Miami. I'm the interpretive programs manager there, and I would say that this has been a part of my situation lately, is that I recently became in charge of an entire team that had been around for a while. And one of the things I did is mostly to make sure they knew where I was coming from is I had one-on-ones with my supervisor. The supervisor that is my direct report answers to me and regularly. But the thing that I think really spoke volumes to them was that I made him have one-on-ones with his leads, the people underneath him. And by having my regular one-on-ones with him, he knew what I expected of him, right? And so, like you talked about time investment, one of the things I really enjoyed hearing back was that the leads really loved the one-on-ones with him. And it was just like, yeah, those are really important, and he had never done that with them before. And so not only did I give him a structure, but I went and I invested my time in them and went in and sat in on the first few. That way they had someone to kind of make sure that they bring something out of it. But then now I don't have to go every day or every time they go. So it's once a week. Once a week they get together for an hour or a half hour, however long it takes them to get through the agenda that we set up, and they've been really raving about it. And so the next step that we've been doing is now my leads are going to go start having one-on-ones with the team. And so I told them it doesn't have to be a half hour. I just need you to talk to them individually, like privately, while you're working, if it's just you two, or while you're driving somewhere, or if you have a minute, pull them aside and talk to them, and you can set points and set things up. So I thought that was really great, and I might have gotten it, the suggestion from people up front, but it was a very important facet of my leadership journey with this new team, and I think it's going really well.
Excellent. Give Rob a round of applause. Thank you for sharing.
Thank you, Rob. Excellent. Did that spark anything that might be along the lines of something that you're focusing on as well, or something that you want to see from your team, or something even with your own development as a leader that you think could enhance your own leadership capabilities in your career? And if not, we've got a whole stack of other questions.
We do have a whole stack. I would actually just like to ask one question about that. What are the challenges that you face in developing leaders for the purpose of creating a better environment for your team members? Is it time? Is it that you don't know what to teach them? Is it that you don't have a support system? So you were shaking your head. If I could get your thought on that.
Time is, I think, the biggest issue for all of us, is just finding the time to do those things.
And who are you? Where are you from?
Sean, with the Lincoln Children's Zoo in Lincoln, Nebraska.
Excellent, excellent. So Sean says time. How many of you would say that time is an issue for any kind of training, right? So
For
that's
those
one
listening
thing.
to this audio only, almost every hand in the room.
Thank you very much. Yeah, exactly. But I think that's something that we have to look at maybe a little differently, right? If time is the issue, then how do we adjust what we're doing within that time so that we can get the development that we need? It's a great point. Thank you, Sean.
Cool. Excellent. Shall we move on to the next question?
Bring it.
Matt, would you like to
grab one.
pick one from the stack?
All right, here we go.
Yeah. We can go in order. We can shuffle it. We can mix it all
this is a good one. Ooh. All right. So, more frequent and more timely communication between separate departments for events. So this one says for events, but I think we can expand that one out, right? How many of you would say, and this will be another audio thing we have to tell them, how many of you would say that communication between departments in your organization could be better? Okay, everybody's got their hand up. Everybody's got their hand up. So, who has some thoughts or suggestions for improving communication between departments? Okay, way in the back. Josh.
All right.
Josh is getting his steps.
I'm running. Karen, how are you? First, please introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm Karen Burns, and I'm the Aquarium Program Supervisor at the Virginia Aquarium and Marine Science Center. And we've worked on this for many years. I've been in my position for quite some time. But we not only have mentorship programs that involve supervisors from one department taking on new hires from other departments, we also have an employee shadowing program that we just developed. Huge time investment, I'll tell you that right off. But all of our new employees that come on, whether they are full-time or part-time, get this employee passport. And there is a way to set up an opportunity, whether it's in water quality or animal care or any of the other department, life support, admissions, all of them, so that all the new employees have the ability to make an appointment and spend some time shadowing anybody in any department, and it has really helped to build morale, buy-in for all of our staff at all levels, because then they get it, whether it's a curator of an animal department going to sit in for a half an hour with the admissions folks that take reservations, then they get it. It's like, wow, they don't really know what everybody does. So this mentorship program and employee passport has been a huge win for us as leaders in the institution.
Excellent. Give her a round of applause. And actually, let's keep the mic there just for a second, because I have a follow-up question.
All right, I'm
How
standing
long
by.
did it take you to put that mentorship program together?
We actually formed a team, which I didn't even sit on, but a couple of my staff did, but we formed a team. I think we called them a guest engagement or guest experience team to develop the passport. It probably took, I would say honestly, 18 months to 24 months of that team meeting just to figure out who would do what, how it would happen, writing it, and then figuring how we were going to implement it. Because once it was written, we actually went to leadership, gave the buy-in, and said, yeah, this is a great idea. And we still struggle with getting folks to take advantage of it, but that's up to the supervisors of the individual sections to really champion that. And I would echo what the gentleman from Zoo Miami said. We do a similar thing with regular meetings, and again, big time suck, but it is so worth the investment.
Awesome. One more round of applause. Thank you for that follow-up. Appreciate that.
Thank you, Karen.
Does anybody else have thoughts on increased or better communication? Was that a hand up you were putting up? Yeah.
Not really on better communication, but kind of on what you said. You can make the best thing, but if you can't figure out the best way to implement it or like make it accessible to people, like it sucks because you have this amazing, great tool, but nobody's going to use it. And so I was kind of wondering if the group had any ideas on ways to get people excited about your great idea that you are so excited about.
Thank you. So,
that's
ideas
a great
to get people excited about your ideas. How do we do that? Say it again.
Involve them in the idea process. Like, hey, we've got this cool idea. We're going to have a quick meeting to see how we can implement it. We had a committee for customer service, and we recently changed it from customer service committee that was mandatory for everyone to send someone into a employee engagement committee, which is now voluntary to participate, but if you participate, there's incentives, like special hours you can earn and stuff like that. And so if you show up, then your voice is heard, and you can be like, oh, well, that won't work for my team, but maybe if you did it this way, or that won't work on this date, but maybe on the weekends, or maybe only on the weekdays, or maybe only, a process of approving it to go through, and then they have to walk it around and get it approved by the different people. That way it puts it on the person, but if they do it, they get this, whatever this is. I don't know, just a thought.
Yeah, it's great. It's great. Yeah, we have over here. And introduce yourself, please.
Brandon Cole. I'm the general manager of the Clubhouse Family Entertainment Center in Oklahoma. Piggybacking off of Rob's point, I also like to launch any initiative with support at each level. So not just for my management team, but I bring in a team member or a shift leader at each attraction to kind of launch it in their own way, shape, and form. So we all have the same idea about it, but I know that they got the investment there and at every level.
Excellent. How about some round of applause for those three answers?
Excellent.
And by the way, we didn't get you to introduce yourself.
I'm Kate. I'm a show ambassador this week, but I work at Magic Leap as a mechanical engineer.
Awesome. Thank you very much.
Kate, you were also part of our inaugural Attraction Pros interns.
Yes,
exactly.
And you all got an Attraction Pros pen when you came in. Is that right? Yay. Because she was an intern, Kate got the first one.
Yep.
And Megan got one too. Yes, yes. Awesome.
That's right. Okay, if we're all set there, we can move on to the next question. And this is a good one here because this has to do with guest experience and a little bit of marketing as well. And this is about how do I keep my guests engaged with my brand after they visit my attraction. So they came, they visited, they hopefully had a good experience. You want to keep them engaged because you probably want them to come back. Maybe you want them to become an annual pass holder or a member. Maybe you want them to post a positive review online. Maybe you want them to bring their friends when they come back. So after they visit, what do you do to keep them engaged? Oh. I guessed that you wrote this one, yeah.
So just to provide some more context, it actually wasn't really about marketing at all. It's about brand building, but the context was how do you basically keep somebody engaged with the actual attraction, with the brand, like meaning offline, online, that kind of thing. So not necessarily marketing to bring them back in. Yes, you do want to bring them back in ultimately, but you're coming back in because they want to continue that experience that they had while they were there with their friends, their family, but then they also had when they went home potentially. Yeah. So thinking through things like engagement in some sort of metaverse type environment, or something like they, instead of, I come from the FEC constituency, and so thinking of like, instead of getting a stuffed animal as part of a redemption item, I get 1,000 credits and then I get this big stuffed animal. So instead of getting that, maybe I do get that, but I also get an NFT that then allows me to show off what I got when I went with my friends when I went home, put that on my online gamer profiles, those types of things. And then that maybe gets me access to VIP space online, maybe on a website there's like a special page, and then when I come back I can actually show that NFT and then get access to maybe a VIP area of the FEC, those types of things. So that was some of the context. I'm just kind of curious what some of the other thoughts that might be out there around how to keep that engagement going, keep them excited about coming back, but also thinking about that brand, that experience, that attraction on an ongoing basis as well.
Yeah. So going way beyond like social media and online reviews as far as like post-visit guest engagement, but in ways that they can actually continue interacting with the venue, and now tying in a lot of very hot topics and trending conversations related to metaverse, related to VR, related to NFTs, and being able to use that, I would say, to complement the on-site location-based experience rather than saying we compete with that because it's entirely virtual. So appreciate you bringing that up. Any thoughts on that? And even if there aren't, I encourage you to just kind of let that marinate for a bit and maybe like allow those gears to turn even beyond this session, to really look beyond what we have available at our fingertips today and really kind of stretching out to what does this look like 3 years, 5 years, 10 years down the road in the way that the world is continuing to change around us, and how can we make sure that we're part of that rather than being completely separate and being against it altogether. So Brandon, I appreciate you bringing up the question.
Ready for another one?
I guess so, yeah.
Okay, let's do it.
All
Let's do it. Here we go. Uh-oh. I don't know if we have anybody in the room that can talk about this. It says burnout on it. Burnout due to staffing challenges and turnover. So we talked a little bit about leadership for turnover and things like that. But when it comes to burnout, again, we'll do a quick poll. How many of you have experienced burnout? Raise your hands. Just about everybody in the room. So what does this feel like? Who would like to share what this feels like? You guys kind of raise your hand back here. She says bad. You guys back here said so. Introduce yourself and what does it feel like?
Okay. Hi, I'm Cole Sosnowski. I'm a mechanical engineering student at the Georgia Institute of Technology. So more from the academic end, but kind of expanding into work and clubs and everything is, especially from the school experience, you get burned out from school, you get burned out from assignments, and then by that point, we have very little either time or energy to do the things that we want to do afterward, and I think that's been affecting, as I think we can all attest to as students here, kind of engagement in post-academic activities. So, if you have like crazy exam weeks or right around midterm, you show up to a club meeting and it looks like everyone's either about to die or is taking a nap on the ground. And so we've been kind of dealing with trying to navigate ways of getting people engaged in post-academic activities while still not adding on to the already crazy workload that we have.
Love it. Awesome. Thank you for sharing that, Cole. Appreciate it.
Excellent.
Anybody else want to share? Yeah, a round of applause, of course.
Yeah.
Sorry about that. Thank you, Dino. Megan.
Megan.
Hi, I'm Megan from Universal Parks and Resorts.
Whoop, whoop.
Woo!
And one of the inaugural
Attraction Pros interns. Not experiencing burnout in my current role, but in a previous role, I experienced it, and it's just that constant feeling of being tired, but also undervalued at the same time. If I'm going to be doing all this work and putting all this effort in, I would definitely want the recognition for that. Sometimes you might not get the compensation, but it's just so easy to give recognition for the hard work you're doing and recognizing your employees when they hit that point in burnout. And I think part of that problem is also communicating that you're burnt out, which can be difficult sometimes.
I mean, sometimes we can see it, right? Sometimes, round of applause first.
Thank you, Megan.
I think sometimes we can see when someone's burned out because you can see the physical, just wilting of that human being, right? But sometimes people mask it better than others. And I also think that, when you have the feeling of being devalued and the exhaustion, all that mental fatigue then turns into physical fatigue, right? So I have a question. How many of you get tired during IAAPA week? Everybody, right? Everybody's hands up, right? But how many of you come back year after year to do the exact same thing, right? One of the things that Megan talked about was purpose, right? When you come to IAAPA, you have a purpose, don't you? You want to see people, you want to learn something, you want to have a good time, you want to experience new attractions, new rides, new games, new cotton candy machines, whatever it is, right? We have this very strong purpose for what we're doing. And I was thinking about this earlier today as I was pulling myself out of bed for yet another day of IAAPA, but I was so excited about it, right? Well, and I think what Megan is talking about is when we lose purpose, when we don't know that what we're doing has value, that's when we start to wonder, why are we doing this? Right? Why am I putting myself through that? We can deal with so much from a physical standpoint, probably more than we think we can, right? People that do Ironman competitions and do long extended bike rides and all these different things, right? Physically, we can probably do more than we think we can, but it's about our mind. So if our mind says there's no purpose behind this, it's going to tell our body to stop. So
I have a follow-up question to that.
Yeah, of course.
And I apologize, it's not fully formed, but I'll try to make my way through it anyway. You talk about being exhausted during Expo week and kind of like getting to the end because you've got that purpose. You talk about Ironman, and last year I ran a marathon, and towards the end of training I was absolutely feeling that burnout, but the purpose got me past the finish line, past the marathon. So there was that. All of that was part of it. There are often times where I see businesses or leadership that will maybe try to put things that look like purpose but might just be something that is kind of a vanity purpose. So for instance, to say, if you complete your summer, you will get X bonus. You make it to this date. If you hit your 1 year, your 5 year, your 10-year milestone with the company, we're going to give you this pin, this recognition, this award. And those are all amazing things, and those are great ways to keep people going. But could that also potentially distract from the purpose of why do we keep going even when we're burned out? Is it because I'm chasing that bonus at the end of the season? Is it because I want that 5-year, 10-year pin? And is that as worth it as we always see it to be? So just kind of throwing that out there.
Yeah.
I think Rob's
Who's got a thought on that? Rob.
I love that question because it brings to light the very real purpose of, like, for instance, pushing through on a marathon has nothing to do with the paycheck at the end.
Right.
It has everything to do with accomplishing a goal, right? But at work sometimes we're like, oh, don't worry, you're gonna get that paycheck if you stick around through the summer and you'll get the bonus or whatever. But the entire time you're here, we're gonna not change what we're doing and not appreciate you anymore, or not say that you're great, or not give you a day off if you ask for it, or anything like that. And
Exactly.
so I think it's recognizing that people need more than a paycheck, and that they could get a paycheck in a lot of different places nowadays too.
Yeah.
Excellent. Thanks so much, Rob. We got Sean again. Here you go.
And I just want to kind of add on to that even when people are giving appreciation, it has to be authentic, because there are times when we get in the habit of saying, oh, I appreciate you, I appreciate you, I appreciate you. But if you don't feel the authenticity behind that, if you don't actually mean that, then it's just empty words.
Follow up. real quick. Sean, give me some examples, or maybe go a little deeper on what authentic appreciation looks like and sounds like to you.
Oh man. If I had known you were going to ask me that, I wouldn't have opened my mouth. I don't know. I'm going to have to think about that.
That's okay. Anybody else? We have, is it Karen in the back? Oh. All right. So he'll get one, and then Brandon.
I'm coming, Karen.
The good Karen, not the bad Karen, right?
Authentic appreciation. I think you just have to know your staff, know what they like. Do they want those words? Thank you. I really appreciate it. Do they prefer to get a little treat in the morning, a sweet? It just depends. I mean, I really look and I know my staff well, and I know the leaders in our institution are really trying to get on that bandwagon with knowing what each individual really appreciates as authentic appreciation. Every person is different. Some people are just happy with a high five, thanks for doing a great job. Others would like, hey, a little note on your desk, or throw a package of Twinkies and say great job. So
I like Twinkies.
I'm all about the Twinkies. So.
Right.
And thinking about that, even further, there's so many ways that you have to be able to, whether it's incentivize your staff or be able to recognize and reward your staff, that you build into the infrastructure, the gas card, the Starbucks gift card. I worked in an office once where we were given a jean coupon as a reward, and I think that all those are good, but are they authentic? So it's almost like if you're going to truly be authentic with that appreciation, it's almost like you have to discard perhaps the structure of the recognition program and be able to, like Karen said, what is it that they're looking for that is going to resonate best with them, rather than good job, here's a $5 Starbucks card, which is a nice thing. But maybe that nice thing can come across sometimes as just a little dry and as not as inauthentic.
And maybe one size fits all. Right, that's what it is. Like,
exactly.
You're getting the card, I'm getting the card, everybody's getting the card.
Right.
Where's the genuine meaning in that?
Yeah.
Brandon, do you have something too?
Yeah, and to take that a step further, Matt, you always talk about tying it back into your company's values and mission statement. So when I talk about authenticness, the good job everybody at the end of the day is great, but it doesn't actually mean anything to them after it. So being specific and saying, hey, if your mission statement is to make memories that last a lifetime, that was part of our motto. Talking to the employee and say, hey, you know what, after the person came in with all their redemption, you walked it to their car for them, and then you helped them, while they were getting their kids, you stood there, you made it a calm and relaxing environment for them, and now they're excited. That was a memory that they're gonna, that means something to them, and that is part of our values. That is what the team member is gonna remember, instead of just a good job. So that's something that I think about.
Excellent.
And then that connects it to the purpose, which can help to minimize the burnout.
Yeah.
Dino, do you have something to share as well?
Dino Fazio, I'm Director of Operations at Maurice Piers in Wildwood, New Jersey, and basically just to tie on to what was just said, being specific, in my opinion, being specific in your appreciation. What exactly did they do, and what effect did it have? I think is really important. I've seen, especially seasonal leadership, great job. With what?
Yeah.
And they say great job over and over and over again, and at some point it doesn't mean anything anymore. And that's been a struggle for us with our seasonal leadership, to get them to really understand that it's more than just saying, hey, great job. It's what exactly did they do, and what positive effect did that have? Why it's important that they did that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
There's something I'd like to kind of expand on a little bit, because Josh was talking about being genuine with your appreciation. It's going to be different for every person, right? And you may have to kind of throw the script out the window, if you will, right? So if your company says everybody gets a gift card for XYZ, but that's not what people appreciate, then you have to maybe go off script a little bit. And one of the things that Josh and I talk about a lot is how similar the employee experience can be to the guest experience, because we're all human beings, right? right? So when you think about what is going to, get a guest to come back, it's similar actions and behaviors and thought processes is to what you want to do to get an employee to come back. So I'd like to kind of put it out there too, and maybe Josh, you can expand on this a little bit. Thinking about that concept of specific and genuine recognition for a team member, how does that correlate to guest service or guest experience when somebody might be serving a guest or serving lots of guests, all day long, and applying that same sort of mindset?
So we're talking about a leader giving positive recognition to be able to possibly minimize burnout or be able to encourage repeatable behavior within them. There's a lot of things that we ask our guests to do that might not be ultra intuitive to them. So please move to the center of the room, or everybody come down this way, or fasten your seatbelt first, then pull down your lap bar. Perhaps those are opportunities that when we see guests doing that right amidst of times where perhaps the guest is doing that wrong, thanking them for doing that could encourage that continued behavior. Now we're training our guests to actually help out our operation. Am I somewhere in the right ballpark, you think?
You were in a different ballpark, but I like that one too.
Okay.
What I was really thinking about was that the person that is maybe on the ride deck or at the turnstile, bringing people, allowing people to come in, and they're interacting with people all the time, different kind of people, and families are a little bit different than maybe some older folks, or people with little kids maybe a little bit different, and individualizing that kind of experience so that you are not just cookie cutter. Welcome to the park, welcome to the park, welcome to the park, welcome to the park.
Well, I think then now we talk about all those opportunities to be able to personalize the experience and, for the guest in front of you. It's the small things like recognizing the logo on the hat. It's perhaps offering assistance if it's an elderly couple who, might need more time, or they might need to know where the elevator is. It is the guests who are pushing a stroller and about to carry it up the stairs to be able to anticipate those needs and say, actually, there's a ramp right around the corner. And I think it is about getting out of the, like you said, that cookie cutter mold of, I'm just gonna go through the mechanics of all the job functions, but instead I'm actually going to extend beyond that and say, who is the guest in front of me, and be able to help them have the best experience that they need to have based on their individual needs.
That was the ballpark.
All
right. Brandon's got something.
But they can both work. Brandon Wiley with Hound. I think a lot of what we're talking about really is about recognition of their humanity. So it lands both for the employee but also for the guest. The guest comes, and I recognize you as a individual person who has interests, who has passions, who has problems, why I'm here. Maybe it's to escape, maybe it's to have fun, whatever that might be, and trying to just connect. And even if it's just a brief moment, being able to connect with that person, like you mentioned, the logo, the logo on the top of the hat, referencing that logo, maybe referencing a game, if it's a sports team or something, a game that just happened, something like that took a moment to recognize you as an individual. And the same thing happens on the employee side. All you have to do is have these small little moments where you just recognize that they're, mention small things, that they're not just a cog in a machine. And sometimes I think we feel like we can be those cogs in a machine, especially if it's, I'm one of 500 staff at a large park, or even a small FEC that maybe has 50 or 150 staff. I'm just this cog in this machine. We take that moment to recognize a small little bit of humanity and just comment on something, even if it's not recognition, but just recognition of that they're an individual person.
Cool, excellent. Thank you, Brandon.
We have another question?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
I think we've got time for maybe one or two more. Let's see, we've got some really good ones here. How about this? This is, I would say, a personal development one, which I really like. Learning new skills and reaching outside my professional comfort zone. Let me follow that up with this question. Who ever comes to, say, IAAPA Expo, and you walk into a room full of people that you don't know, and it feels really awkward because you want to meet everybody, but you might feel like it's like networking is awkward. As at its core, it is kind of counterintuitive to what we normally feel as comfortable. So we do need to get out of our comfort zone, and sometimes that might be awkward of getting from one zone to another zone. Does anybody have any recommendations? I see Frank, he's an expert networker in the room, so I can't wait to hear his tips on not just networking, but being able to get out of your comfort zone and the awkward zone.
Frank with Fun Spot America. I definitely think one of the biggest things is getting comfortable with being uncomfortable. For me, most of my career until recently, I'm a theme park operations, safety, rides guy. But recently there was an opportunity for me to join HR. And if you asked me 5 years ago, I would say I have zero interest in HR. I will never do that in my life. But after thinking about it, even talked to Matt and got his advice, I ended up taking this job in HR, and I'm learning a lot. And I think all this learning and trying new things throughout my career has definitely helped me and elevated my career pathway. So I definitely encourage everyone to take an opportunity in front of you to just really just try something new, because you might fall in love with it.
Yeah, and you might even find that the learning curve is even quicker than you expected, especially if you have everything that you have coming with you behind you. I went from being in ride operations to being in a guest services call center to selling photo souvenir retail to consulting for Ritz-Carltons to now working with software and technology, and being able to kind of connect all those dots, being able to find the similarities helps to create that comfortability and allows for that growth in my own unique way. Somebody who would be in the same position right now with a completely different background would have a different way of getting to that same place, and that's what makes all of our individual skill sets very unique as far as what it is that we're bringing to the table.
You forgot one thing that you do.
I'm a podcast host.
That's it. That's it. That's it. That's it.
That too, which by the way, that in and of itself can be one of those things of breaking out of your comfort zone of, you know, recording something that is going out into the public domain every single week. What if I say something dumb? What if I stumble through my words? Well, guess what? We do that all the time, and we just keep doing it. And sometimes we get better at it, and sometimes we slip up when doing that, but we want to be able to extend that comfort zone, and sometimes it is just about plowing through the wall. So if you listen to the first like 20 episodes of our podcast.
40.
40, yeah. 50, 60, whatever, you know. There's a lot of those awkward moments that we sort of just plowed through, and we regularly cleared them up, and we learn from those small little mistakes. So it's about really allowing yourself to absorb feedback, and sometimes that feedback can come from other people, sometimes it can be from yourself to say, all right, I realize that, I'm going to start to modify that, and then you start to see those changes, and then that's something to chase. That becomes exciting in whatever aspect of your life. And Brandon, you're holding the mic there too.
Yeah, so Brandon again, I think taking small bites out of whatever that big thing is too. So for example, I have a friend who's absolutely terrified of being up on stage, period, but also talking in a microphone. In fact, I ended up taking over some of the introduction things needed for the sessions here at IAAPA. But she recently just got a karaoke machine for her house so that she can practice just in front of her husband and her kids, singing the karaoke machine at her house, with that microphone. And so just that's, because she eventually wants to tackle that and be able to get up on stage. That's one way. And then the next thing would be for her to go to the karaoke bar and actually sing in front of a few people in a dark room, and then eventually get up on stage. So taking those small little steps into accomplishing something new as well.
Yeah, and sometimes that takes a little liquid courage at the karaoke bar, but then you get there.
Yeah. Does anybody have any kind of tried and true networking? Right back here?
You got it?
Yeah, I got him. I got him.
I'll race you.
You'll win. Okay, who are you? Where are you from?
Jamie Flaherty with Zola. Being a father of a 5 and an 8-year-old, I won't be adding the karaoke machine into our house. But sometimes you don't necessarily have to step out of your comfort zone in this industry, because this is an attraction. We're surrounded by businesses focusing around having fun. So stick to what you're good at. If you like roller coasters, open up the conversation with that stranger talking about roller coasters. Ask what their favorite parks are. I mean, this is an awesome industry, and stick to what you know. If you're not comfortable just opening up and pitching your service or asking for a job or any of those things, stick to what you know. That's what people like talking about here.
Thank you very much. Give him a round of applause, Jamie. Nicely done. I think what's really cool about that is that you're absolutely right. We are the fun industry, right? There's a lot of things that even in this room, we could go around, and there's a lot of things I'm sure that we all have in common. And what's cool about that is that we could be talking about, Brandon and I could be talking about roller coasters or something like that, and somebody walks up, Frank walks up, and he starts talking about it, and then somebody else walks up, and then now I've met Frank and all these other people, and it just kind of compounds on itself. So I think you're absolutely right. Find those things that you can relate to other people about, and just stick with that until you become more comfortable with approaching other people that you don't even know.
And then you sometimes realize that your comfort zone is bigger than you thought it was. And then it's not that it's growing, it's that you're finding more areas of it that you are already in. Yeah. So what do you think? Do we have time for one more question?
I think we have time for one more. Let's do it.
All right, excellent. We're just given the 5-minute paddle warning in the back. So let's do one more question, and then we'll start to wrap this up.
Oh,
what
this
do we got?
is interesting. This is kind of along the lines of professional development. How to be best confident in your abilities while still being inclusive and accepting of others' ideas and contributions. There's a balance there. Ooh, yeah. He's like, wow, that's a good one. Was that yours? No, okay. But it's about being confident in your abilities, right? But then also being open-minded enough to still have other people allowed to share their points of view.
Yeah. I think part of that is really understanding to say, okay, I'm very passionate and proficient about X topic, and because of that, I don't want to just announce that I'm an expert at it and just add this blanket, I'm perfect at it. But if you're passionate and proficient about it, then maybe that helps you realize I always want to learn more and become even more proficient on this topic. So anytime I'm absorbing new information, I'm not dismissing it because I think I know everything, but I'm embracing it because there's always something more to learn about it. And now I'm even smarter, now I'm even more confident in that particular ability or that topic.
Yeah.
Any other thoughts? I see a lot of heads bobbing here, so hopefully we're like in agreement.
For the audio, that's really important.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
But I would also say it is about balance, right?
Yeah.
And the more you do anything, the more confident you're going to get at it. So whether that's networking with someone, doing something at your job, anything that you want to do, swimming, the more you do it, the more confident you get. And hopefully at swimming, you get really confident really quick, right? So you get more confident at it. But I think also if history is any teacher, the more you know you don't know. Hashtag that, right? So as you start to learn things, as you get into the workforce, as you are building your networking, building your confidence, you start to know that, okay, I don't know all this stuff, but I can be just as confident in what I do know, and it's okay that I don't know all this stuff, right? It's okay to have questions. One of the best leaders I ever had just asked questions all the time. And some people might think, well, he didn't know anything. No, he was trying to learn even more than he already knew. So I think that was a really great role model for me to know that even in that position as a director in an organization, he was just always asking questions.
All right. Here, Rob.
Hey, I would just say one thing that being confident sometimes means that you have to share your confidence with others, and part of that is saying like, hey, we're going to get through this, but I'm going to give you a chance to take a whack at it first, right? Because a lot of times when we're the expert or where everyone looks straight at us when the question's posed, hey, what are we going to do about this animal experience? And Rob, right? And so I think it's important that when that happens, you could be like, oh, wow, yeah, I have a few ideas on that, but I want to hear what you think. I want to hear what you think. I want to see what you're going to do. And if they don't step up that time, tell them this time, hey, next time I'm going to ask you, right? And then keep putting it back on the other people around you to encourage them to step up too. Because being confident doesn't mean you always have to do it. And being the expert doesn't mean you have to be the only one who does it.
Excellent. Well said. Thanks, Rob. And Brandon.
Yeah. So my son's in musical theater. He's naturally, I think, very gifted at it. But we recently talked with him about getting potentially a coach, vocal coach, other things like that. And he was like not quite sure whether or not he wanted to do that because maybe it meant that he needed some extra help. And again, there's that thing about confidence, right? He felt very confident, but then if he gets a coach, does that mean that? And I said, look, even Olympic athletes have coaches, Olympic athletes, and they know that they have room to grow and ways to get better in order to stay as good as possible.
Absolutely. Every sports team has a coach, right? Every single one. So
Excellent.
That's a great point. Thank you, Brandon. How about a round of applause for these two, for those answers? Yeah.
Well, I think this is also a great note to end on as well. So we really appreciate all of you for coming today, and thank you all so much for participating. It is always so fun when we get together in this type of environment and be able to share this collective wisdom of the room that we can really all use to be able to support each other. And not just everyone in the room, but also everyone who's tuning into this once it goes live on the podcast. So
and for everyone out there who's watching and listening, just remember,
we're all Attraction Pros!
Thanks for listening to the Attraction Pros podcast.
Make sure to subscribe so you can tune in when new episodes release. And even better, please leave us a review on iTunes.
For more information, visit attractionpros.com.